Back in 2004, I started capturing my father's 8mm film, and I did it at the time by projecting onto a screen and recording with my video camera. At the time, the Go was MPEG-2. I think it was PAL version, so the video resolution was 720 by 576. Also, it was very disappointing trying to focus, so this is how it turned out. Dark around the edges and very, very hard to get a good clear focus on it. So a lot of time's gone by and I thought it was time to look again to see what the technology could give me today. And I've got to admit, I'm a lot happier with the outcome. So I bought one of these to copy my dad's old 8mm movies, films from the 1960s through to the late 70s, and there's been a few tricks to getting it to work well, but for the value for money, I think it's been well worthwhile. So I went for the Pro because it's high resolution, and than the standard. Also, it'll take a bigger reel on one side, a feed-in reel. Still has a fairly small reel to take it out the back, but yeah, overall I'm very satisfied with it. I tried to find people to do it commercially, but particularly in these COVID times, it was very hard to find anybody who'd respond to do it. But then I realised that with irreplaceable films, I'd rather do it myself, and yeah, so that's the way I've gone. So here I am, I'm still copying away. So I think I'll probably leave it at that. I thought, since probably still some other people interested in doing this, it was worth adding my experience to that of others. So this is my WolverinePro thing that copies frame by frame 8mm and Super 8 film, and I've done a lot of research as the best way to run it, and most people are saying don't use this take-up spool, just use the grabber and advancer that grabs the sprocket and feed it directly into a bin below. So you're putting minimum pressure on the film, and the only place that advances is a little cam that sticks up through the holes. And this is the longest run I've had for a while. It can jam for various reasons, if the sprockets have been torn or damaged, or if the film has been bubbled by heat. So the unit cost just under $900, but considering what it's doing and the resolution, it's worth every cent. So in this case I'm using a 16 gig SD card. You can use up to 32, and on my other screen this is the raw footage coming out, and as you can see I've carefully framed it so that the picture is smaller, because what I do is I crop it back later. But this is looking at it in VLC on a Linux PC, but if I just advance the film a bit, you can get an idea of what it looks like before. This is also caught at 20 frames a second, so it's got to be slowed down. I slow it down by 70%. I started with 80%, that's technically right, but it looked better at 70% using the editor that I happen to use. It'll be different everywhere. The interesting thing with it here is if I look under Tools, Codec Information, what it tells me is the video resolution, which is a weird one. It's 1440 by 1080. But it's a pretty good high res, so I'm happy with that. So in the editor I use, I'll crop out the rough edges, but that way I make sure I get as much of the image as possible right up to the sprocket holes. So having put the 8mm film through the projector and into this bucket down here, the next trick is rewinding it. And so far I found just doing it by hand seems to work pretty well. This particular reel has a hole in it where you could put a pen or something. So first I'll release the gate, pull the leader out of the track, and then what I tend to do is put it over here, and then I can just rewind it like this. You want to keep a little bit of tension on it, otherwise, particularly if it's a very full roll, if it's too loosely packed, it won't fit back on the roll. So I found that out the hard way. I was zipping along very quickly and had to stop and do it again. It doesn't spring back, but you just keep a little bit of tension on it with clean hands, which is not a bad thing for cleaning it. And away you go. So because it's being allowed to, and the other tip I suppose is have a big plastic, particularly if you've got a large roll of film, have a big plastic bucket so there's plenty of room for it. This is a medium-sized one. Slightly annoying thing is the way the machine's not very heavy, so it tends to move around. Fortunately I have a handy sewing machine there, so I'll pop that against it and actually stop it moving. That's got it. So away we go. Just occasionally get kinks in the film, so you've got to watch for that. But overall, I was going to use an old projector to do the rewinding, but the hassle and effort of setting it up, I didn't think it was worth it. Get the sulfate tied finger here. Change finger. I'll edit this afterwards rather than have the whole thing running through, but as you might be able to see, it's fairly quick. And then I can put the film back in its case and in a dry storage place, and we can go another 20 years before any further technology comes through. What I'd like would be if the technology to put the stuff through without using the sprocket becomes the go. But I'm hoping that artificial intelligence should mean that be able to enhance the quality of the film that comes out of this. The other things is keeping the gate clean, using silicone polish such as this Mr. Sheen stuff on the gate to keep it slippery, and just applying with something like this. So that's about it.